The Emperor has no clothes on!
For years, this case was called a medical triumph, but in truth, the case was a failure, devastating the lives of just about everybody involved. This is David, who has remained anonymous until now, only known in the medical journals as John Joan. And this is Janet Reimer, David's mother, who made the agonizing decision to change the sex of her son and to raise him as a girl.
If we can agree, and we haven't, that the left can go too far, which it clearly can, then how would my worthy opponents precisely define when the left that they stand for has gone too far?
What happens in the good fairy dream?
So when I was 2 years old, I went up to my mom and asked her, when is the good fairy gonna come with her magic wand and change my penis into a vagina?
You were 2.
Yeah.
For the now 18-year-old Jazz Jennings, that dream is about to become a reality.
We use magic thread that has a way of making itself invisible to certain types of people.
The thread will become invisible to those unfit for office and to those who may be unusually stupid, which of course eliminates anyone from here, sire.
Hello and welcome to A Spirited Debate. I'm Lauren Green. Ontario, Canada, our neighbor to the north, has just passed a law giving the government power to take children away from their families if the parents do not accept the child's chosen gender identity. It basically makes it a form of child abuse.
Well, the people with me on stage right now are all transgender kids who want others to know it is possible to transition socially with love and support and acceptance within a family and a community. Please welcome 16-year-old Nicole, 12-year-old Daniel, 14-year-old Gia, 15-year-old Landon, and 13-year-old Stella. How do you feel when you see some of the rollbacks of transgender equality rights that we've been seeing?
I think we can all have similar feelings on this. It's just devastating, but it's a push to fight harder and be louder.
Jazz is arguably the most famous transgender teen in the country, carrying the torch on behalf of trans kids' rights for the last decade. Her work recognized from GLAAD to the Human Rights Campaign.
I have come to see the clothing that you are making for the Emperor. Would you show me where it is?
Why, right here on the loom, sir, under your very nose.
Now, of course, the official couldn't see anything because there was nothing to see. But with the swindler staring at him, he said nothing.
Isn't it a beautiful piece of cloth?
Why, it's exquisite, cried the official, fearing for his job. What beautiful colors, what lovely patterns. I'll tell the Emperor at once.
New Jersey, Illinois, Colorado, California, Washington, and the District of Columbia have ordered that schools teach sexual orientation and gender in numerous classes.
We had a written agreement with John to allow John to actually express his convictions by using only last names of all the students. That reasonable accommodation was tossed out by the administration after the school year, and he was told he either resigns, he follows the line of the school using these transgender names that were not, as he said, the birth names, or he will be suspended and then terminated. Those were the choices.
A physical education teacher in Florida has been punished for refusing to oversee a biological female middle school student who, while she's getting undressed in a boys' locker room. Did you catch that? Does that make sense?
You didn't attack the student. You used a female name, the name of this student, and so apparently the student complained or someone complained to the school. What did they say to you, and what was your response?
The school administration understood that I wasn't willing to pronounce male pronouns when referring to the students. I was told that I had to use male pronouns even when the students weren't present. Such as if you were my colleague and I'm speaking to you about the student, let's say I'm praising the student about, hey, you know this student, she did great on a test. Well, I could be denounced and lose my job. And I couldn't agree to that. I couldn't agree to that kind of ultimatum.
There were the swindlers working hard.
As you see, sire, we have nearly completed our work on your magic garment.
We trust you'll find that all is completely satisfactory. We had to move the buttons a bit higher to emphasize your Majesty's broad shoulders, but aside from that, sire...
Magnificent! My, but aren't those all just the prettiest colors? Isn't their use of pattern absolutely brilliant as well as daring and bold, Your Majesty? What's this? Thought the Emperor. My minister can see the cloth, my chancellor can see it, obviously the weavers can see it, but I can't see anything. Oh, this is terrible. Am I a fool? He thought. Am I unfit to be the Emperor? What a thing to happen to me, of all people. But nothing could make him say that he didn't see anything. He laughed and said the garment was very pretty and ordered the Chancellor to give the swindlers more money.
And just in this British study, they went from, I think it's 94 referrals as gender dysphoria is a technical term, from 2009 to 2010, 94 at this clinic, to now between 2016 and 2017, 1,986 referrals, including some of those for children younger than 6 years of age. Now, a lot of people are thinking that this could be gender-affirming treatments, or actually encourage kids who call themselves transgender.
Gender has become cool. In a lot of ways, I think in this culture, transgenderism has become something that is less of a medical diagnosis and more of a fad. I mean, it used to be something that you come to a revelation about through years of self-discovery and therapy, but now a lot of people seem to come to the revelation that they're trans because they saw someone on YouTube and they think it looks cool.
Everyone marveled. Nobody would confess that he didn't see anything, for that would prove him unfit for his position, or a fool.
Isn't the Emperor's new costume just superb?
And it fits him to perfection.
Indeed, no costume the Emperor had worn before was ever such a complete success.
The Emperor has no clothes on!
I lived 8 years as a female named Laura Jensen after undergoing gender reassignment surgery in April of 1983. I started as a 4-year-old kid in 1944. So I'm bringing to this conversation today 74 years of firsthand experience in some way, either living it or trying to deal with it or trying to recover from it. It's important, I think, to understand that everything that we've heard today is damaging to children. And I was damaged by this, and I have some very strong points of view. So I hope that don't take exception to them. They come out of pain. They come out of real life experience. I'm not trying to be hurtful to anybody. I think it's important for us to realize that there is actually nothing good about affirming a young boy, 4 years old, like my grandma did me. The moment you affirm a child, like my grandma did, putting me in a purple chiffon dress and telling me how cute I was, how wonderful I looked, is at the very same moment that you're affirming that young person, you're telling them there's something wrong with them. You're not right. That is child abuse.
That's why we've actually called this child abuse, because by feeding children and families these lies, children are having their normal psychological development interrupted. They're being put on the puberty blockers, which essentially castrates them chemically, followed by surgical mutilation later on. This is child abuse. It's not healthcare.
It really does sterilize you. I've been on hormones for about 1.5 years, and I am completely 100% sterile. I can never procreate. And if there's anyone out there who thinks that a child, a minor, has enough foresight and the capability of deciding for themselves to sterilize themselves for the rest of their life, I don't know, get your head checked. We seem to be on the right track with, not letting children get tattoos and piercings, so why exactly would we let them dramatically alter their body's physiology?
I have a 3.5-year-old. It is insane to suggest that a 4-year-old is capable of deciding his or her sex. That's utterly crazy, and parents who are doing this are doing something deeply sinful, something deeply nasty to their own child. It is your job to guide your child. This idea that your child is supposed to lead you into something like sexual identity when they have no clue what sex is, have no idea what their genitals are for, don't have hormones, okay? It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
My daughter went home crying, shaking, so afraid that she could turn into a boy.
The Emperor has no clothes on!
Students won't be told that hormones can lead to impaired cognitive ability, greater risk of cancer, and sterility. And 80 to 95% of gender dysphoric children who go through puberty eventually become comfortable with their natural body.